Don't pull the lever, Shad. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, coffee. Love coffee. Welcome to Shad Life. I have some updates for you. Let's first talk about the fact that it was a tough decision, but I decided that I'm not going to do the Chequamegon 40 this year. It's happening this weekend, coming up on Saturday, and I'm not ready for it. I want to be in town because of my mom and the stuff that's going on with her, and in case I need to go see her, relatively quickly. And I'm also going to Portland in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be gone for like 5 or 6 days. So I want to minimize how often I'm off traveling somewhere. So that's one big reason. Another one is I just haven't even properly trained for it, and so on and so forth. But there is some good news. The good news is there's another event that's happening on the same day, and I was kind of disappointed when I heard that event was announced and it was on the same day as the Chequamegon 40. But now that I decide not to do the Chequamegon 40, I can do the other event. And the other event is the Minnesota Faction Barbecue. That is a bunch of older school BMXers getting together, having a barbecue. There's some giveaways, there's some little fun skills challenges. It's a pretty cool thing. A lot of people bring out their older bikes and so on and so forth. So I will try to get that on my channel, do some footage and stuff of it, and so on and so forth. So it's not all lost. I'm not doing the race, but I will be doing that Minnesota Faction Barbecue, and that'll be a lot of fun. But I did spend a lot of this year getting my titanium Hayduke ready for the Chequamegon 40. So let's just quickly jump to the video of my Hayduke and where it currently is at as far as like parts go. It's pretty decked out right now. So here is the Thai Hayduke in all its glory. I've swapped out quite a few parts. More recently, I switched to the wolf tooth pedals, and then I put these Raceface Atlas bars. They're a little bit higher rise than the Esker bars that were on here, so 35 millimeter. And then I swapped out the Bomber Z2 fork for this DVO Sapphire D1 fork. This is a 29er fork, so I went from 27.5 to 29er fork, so I'm running 120 millimeters of travel instead of 140, which is fine for this bike. If you haven't seen my video on Axle to Crown, I'll just put that right there. That'll explain why I went down in travel by going from a 27.5 fork to a 29er fork. And then, of course, this has the Bird wheels with Bird spokes with Industry 9 hubs. So these spokes are made of kind of a rope or string, whatever you want to call it, but they're, some kind of high-tech crazy material, and they are awesome. I love these wheels. They're super light. This is definitely one of my fastest bikes in my stable as far as like me being able to just haul. I even have the Ergon titanium railed saddle on there, so on and so forth. Mostly XT cranks, XT drivetrain, so on and so forth. So yeah, this bike is awesome. It looks cool now that I added the blue accents, and here comes an airplane. Shocking. Of course I have to have more coffee. Just be patient with me. All right, I'll put it down. Okay, if you are local, this is probably bigger news. If you're not local, you probably don't care all that much. But little history here. In the 2000s, early 2000s, throughout most of the 2000s, I got involved with MORC, Minnesota Off-Road Cyclists. I started out by doing trail work. There's another organization, which is a Minneapolis specific one, called MOCA, Minneapolis Off-Road Cycling Advocates. So if you're ever wondering the difference between MORC and MOCA, it's really only people that are local. MORC, Minnesota Off-Road Cyclists, statewide organization. MOCA, Minneapolis Off-Road Cycling Advocates, Minneapolis mountain bike group. There's a reason they both exist. Maybe I'll do a video on that. I don't know, but yeah, they both exist for a reason, but they do share resources, and MORC does help MOCA out and so on and so forth and whatever. Theodore Wirth is the trail I ride that is managed by MOCA, by the way. Anyway, a full circle. I was big into both organizations. I was a trail steward, partnered with Mara, for Theodore Wirth for many years, and so on and so forth. And then I was on the IMBA National Mountain Bike Patrol. I was doing tons of trail work. I was actually trained through the Advanced IMBA training program on trail building and how to build sustainable trails and all kinds of stuff. But what ended up happening at kind of in that time I was working for Quality Bicycle Products around 2010, 2011, I burnt out. I completely burnt myself out. Way too much volunteering, not doing enough of shad, right? Not doing a lot of what I wanted to do. Sure, I was riding a lot and this and that, but I wasn't doing a lot of BMX stuff, and I really love BMX, and I wasn't doing, much of anything but a lot of, back then, single speed mountain biking and stuff. So I burnt out, and it's been since 2010 or 2011. I can't remember when I got off the board and so on and so forth. And I pretty much stopped doing trail work. I pretty much just stopped being involved, and so on and so forth. So many years later, 12 years later, 13 years later, which is a long time, I've been talking to people. I know a few people on the MORC board, and I kind of like the agenda. I kind of like what's going on with the trails and things like that, and I decided I'd give it another shot to get on the MORC board again, and I'm just going to do that. No longer part of the bike patrol, no longer part of any other thing. Every once in a while I'll volunteer to help out with trail work, but I kind of, as I'm older, my body just doesn't like swinging tools that much anymore and things like that, and I'd rather preserve my body for riding my bikes, so on and so forth. So I've done plenty of that volunteering. So I'd rather be more of somebody that directs other people to do the work. So I'm on the MORC board again. Just got put on there a couple days ago. Interviewed with them, told them kind of what I'm all about, what my interests are, things like that. So if you're local, it's kind of big news. I'm on the MORC board, and if you know what MORC is, they pretty much manage most of the trails in the Twin Cities metro area. Not all of them, but almost all of them, and so on and so forth. So pretty cool. And then Cuyuna is managed by a different organization, Cuyuna Lakes Mountain Bike, Cuyuna Lakes MTB, something like that. I never remember all these acronyms and stuff. So that's a different group. I do know those guys, and they're pretty cool, and so on and so forth. So just for you, those of you local here in Minnesota, you don't want to get the two confused. Like Cuyuna, Redhead, all that like outstate stuff. Duluth area trails, I believe they're run by COGS still. I think it's still COGS, COGGS. Unless that's changed. If somebody knows that that's changed, then let me know in the comments. So there's just different organizations, and so MORC is mostly focused on the Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the surrounding metro area. It's a pretty large area, and there's quite a few trails. I don't even know how many trails, but it's like 12, 13 trails, maybe even more. I don't know. It's a lot of different trails, and a lot of them are just really awesome. And you've seen me riding Monarch recently with a lot of the new you know, stuff. And that's kind of probably what's been my motivation to kind of jump back in. After seeing Monarch, I've kind of been like, whoa, it's happening. We're starting to really step up our game and put in some seriously legit trails. If you saw my video on the Monarch Paradise Playground section, I kind of equated it to like a miniature version of Bentonville, and that's freaking awesome. So yeah, really stoked. Did a video on Carver, lots going on out there, just super awesome. It's easy to get Monarch and Carver confused, but Carver is over in Woodbury. It's Carver Lake Park that's over there. So there you go, on the Mork board. Just gonna be a board member. I might really work on pushing the kind of more like the sustainable trail agenda. Diversity in mountain biking has always been a big thing for me. Anybody and everybody should be able to ride a mountain bike and enjoy the trail. So not everything should be big drops and big jumps and gnarly stuff. We should have trails that the beginners, kids, you know, any kind of skill level rider can ride. One of the cool things about Cuyuna is the adaptive trails, right? So, you know, those are cool for people who have physical challenges and ride these three-wheel bikes and so on and so forth. So, yeah, super stoked. I have some new things coming. Two of them I'm going to just let you know outright before they get here. The third one's going to be a bit of a surprise. It's not something you'd expect to see on my channel, but it's pretty cool, especially if this contraption works. And I'll just tell you right now, it's not bike related, but it's got wheels. Cool. So the other thing that I have ordered is taller handlebars on my Nuke-Proof Scout. They should be here within a day or so. I'm going to do a whole video on how handlebar height affects your riding position and how the bike rides and things like that. So if you like the videos that I've been doing lately on geometry and how different things affect the bike and so on and so forth, look forward to that video. The reason I'm going to do that, and if you watched my video on Carver that I just recently put up there, I talked about while I was riding about how this bike felt a little too long for me. The reach on this is, I kept saying 440, but somebody pointed out that it's actually 446. So the reach is 446 on the Nuke-Proof Scout. And most of my bikes are around 420. So it's quite a bit more reach. I do have a 35 millimeter stem on this bike to try to offset it. But during that video, the Carver video, I talked about maybe trying higher bars. And I was thinking of putting my DJ bars on there, which are 80 millimeters, to kind of go to the extreme. But I decided against it for two reasons. One, my DJ bars are 31/8 clamp size. And so I'd have to move the stem and the bars off my DJ bike and switch everything over to this bike. And these are 38 millimeter clamp. So instead, and I knew that 80 millimeters was going to be too extreme anyway, right? So I decided to order some 60 millimeter. I want to say they were Spank Spike Vibecore bars. I'm not 100% sure on that, but let me check. Yes, so Spank Spike 36 Vibecore, so they have the 36 clamp on them. So two things there is they're going to have, I got the 60 millimeter rise, so they're going to be almost twice as tall as the Chromag bars I have on there right now. And then they're going to have that Vibecore material inside the bar, which, you know, I have no idea. I've never ridden Vibecore bars, but it's supposed to take some of the vibrations and stuff like that out of the handlebar. So I'll be able to talk about both things. And we'll see if those bars make this bike fit me better. If they you know, having that taller rise gives me more ability to pull up the front end, things like that. So it'll be something cool to talk about on my channel. So look forward to that. The other product I got was a GoPro Hero 12. I did order that, like pre-ordered it, and it's gonna finally ship. I should be getting that within a couple days. It's probably not gonna be a huge difference from the Hero 11 right there that I'm filming with right now. I use a Hero 11 and a Hero 11 Mini, so basically the hardware is the same, and the quality is pretty much identical. That's what I use right now for most of my filming. The reason I got the 12 is they have this new Max Mod adapter you can add, so I'm going to add that on there sometimes. It gives you huge FOV, field of view. Video gamers understand FOV, right? So we'll see. It'll be kind of cool to see what I can do with that camera. And then the other thing that I am kind of excited about is I'll have 2 cameras that I'll bring with me that when I do these different angle shots, I don't have to do as many runs, because someday I'll do a video on how I film a video. Because if you see these videos, if you, like the Carver video is a perfect example, you'll see me going into the wooden berm, and then you'll see me shooting out of the wooden berm, 2 separate angles. Well, the way I do that is I have to film 2 separate times, or I have to ride the trail 2 separate times to do that. So I set my camera up and I ride into the berm and go around it. Then I go reposition the camera, walk back, and go through the berm and get the footage out. And then in editing, I put the clip together. And then to you, it looks like I'm just... if you ever watch Sam Pilgrim's channel, which if you don't, you should, right? He does a lot of these different kind of crazy clips, and I love it. But there's a recent one he did where he just, I think it was just his last video, he's got his Slope Duro Canyon Spectral, and he does a flare, and he's got the I think he uses a helmet mounted camera, right? And then he goes to do another flare from a different angle in slow-mo, but he crashes. And he even says in there, he goes, well, I guess I got to do it a 3rd time or whatever. And then he goes and does it. So when you see these other angles, they're usually the rider is doing multiple tricks. It's not all done in one shot, because, you know, he does have his brother helping film for him, but he's only got one brother filming. So when you see the different angles, that means he went back and did it again. So me, when I'm by myself, every time you see a different angle of like the same thing, that's me going back and refilming. So anyway, I just explained how I did it, even though I said I was going to do that in a separate video. But you know me, I like to babble. GoPro Hero 12, I will talk about that camera, do a review on it, so on and so forth. I might even take the time to do comparison between the 11 and 12, although I have a feeling there's not going to, footage-wise, there's not going to be much difference. It's mostly just what that camera is capable of. 2 things, that mod, and the other thing I heard about it is the battery lasts twice the amount that the current battery does. How they do that, I don't know, but if that's the case, that is going to be super nice, because right now I have multiple batteries, so if I run out of battery, I got to switch them up. So, yep, that is what it is. So, pretty excited about that. Hero 12, that's out there now, so Sam Pilgrim again, he did a video with the Hero 12. But yeah, super stoked on that. So the seasons are changing. They're changing pretty fast here in Minnesota. I feel like fall just goes by really quickly. Starts getting dark earlier, so I got to start doing, bringing my lights and doing some night riding and stuff like that if I'm going to get rides in. Very hard to film at night. So we're kind of getting to that point where these rides that I do on my channel are going to become fewer, and I'm going to have to kind of shift my focus over to other things. So that will start to happen. I'm holding this brake. If you don't know what this is a JuneTech brake. I talked about these quite extensively with the whole Poseidon Norton, and I even had these initially on this bike. They work okay, but they're not that great. But they're, you know, I have to grab a little harder, things like that. But they do work okay, and I better not pull this lever right now, because me being all fidgety, I want to pull the lever, but then I'll have to pull the pads back out if I do that. I'll push the pistons in and so on. So don't pull the lever, Shad. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. I'm going to try these on my fat bike. Recently, I did just a quick review of my fat bike because we're going into that time of year. And so I will have some winter videos of me on my fat bike. Again, you know, by the time I get off work, it's dark. So it's hard to do daytime fat biking videos. I'm almost always fat biking at night with lights, and it's kind of hard to film. It will be interesting. Will the GoPro Hero 12 with the Max mod on it do a better job at capturing the light? We'll see. Anyway, when I'm running lights anyway. So that being said, I want to try these on there because I don't really need super powerful brakes on my fat bike. Because I'm on the snow, I don't need, you know, 4-piston, you know, Shimano XT brakes that are going to just be... So I think these will do okay on there, and I can always try them, and if they don't, I'll just get a different set of brakes. Because the brakes that are on there, those SRAM guides, they're done. They're completely done. I've tried to give them new life, but I can't make them work good anymore. So that's where we're at. Fall is here. Well, in a few days anyway, the 21st of September and the equinox. And summer is winding down. And I'm going to make that shift in the wintertime. Just for those of you that are relatively new to my channel, I kind of shift the focus. I'll do a lot more of those geometry type videos. People seem to really like those. I have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. I started riding BMX in 1980. You know, I have well over 40 years of just BMX mountain biking, just knowledge in general. So I try to find the best way that I can get that knowledge out of my head and to you people out there. And sometimes it's a miss, sometimes it's a success. The front center video, that thing blew up, and I wasn't even expecting that. I just was like, oh, I'm going to try this tilt thing and stuff like that, and apparently people really liked it. So I'll try to be more creative, try to do the best I can at explaining these things so you can understand them. I understand them from a very technical standpoint, but it's better if I can try to present them in such a way that you will understand them. Higher rise handlebars, that video will be coming up soon. We'll talk about that. And somebody asked me to do a video on chainstay length. That'll be coming. So, so on and so forth. So those are the kind of things I'll transition to as we get more into winter and I'm not riding mountain biking as much, or the mountain biking I'm doing is in the dark, right? And then I will be doing some indoor stuff. Last year I rode Skaterapolis. I don't even know if that still exists. I have to check. It's one of those business models where you're like, oh, a skate park and a shopping mall, will that succeed or not? We'll see. But if I can go there, I'll go there. I actually might try some skateboarding too, and so on and so forth. The skateboarding videos I'll do, trust me, they're probably going to be more humorous than me like showing you anything, because they're going to be me relearning how to skateboard after not doing it for a long time. You can tell if you look at my shoe that I've been working on trying to relearn how to ollie, and it's not going very well. It's like I feel so sketchy. So yeah, so some of that, and then of course within a couple days here I'll have a product that will surprise you. It's pretty funny. Cool. I think that covers all my updates. I really appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.